All right. Hey guys, knock out a real quick one here. It's going to be on adolescence, adulthood, moral development, stuff like that. We won't get it all done in this video, but pretty short video to start. Psychologists to know would be G. Stanley Hall. He kind of coins the term adolescence. He's going to be the first president of the American Psychological Association. He's actually going to be the first American to ever get a PhD in psychology. Freud, funny story, or a little trivia. Sigmund Freud only ever makes one trip to the United States, and the only trip he ever makes is at the request or the invitation of G. Stanley Hall. Okay, so kind of evolutionary theory of psychology and child development. He focuses on adolescence and different levels of aggression that take place during adolescence. Evolutionary theory with this would be, how do adolescents change over time? Different generations and generations of adolescence. How does it look different? When you compare these different generations, and how does it evolve, right? So what are the differences between generations? He's actually a proponent of eugenics. So he suggests that the human population would be better off if essentially the smarter, the stronger reproduce with each other, right? And if we promoted superior reproduction, then the human race would be better off. All right, so a couple terms to know for him. Relational aggression. Again, he's all about adolescence and aggression. Relational aggression, more likely with females. And this is going to be aggression in the way of like relationships and friendships, right? So relational aggression. Why is it that girls, and this is him, why is it that girls tend to gossip, more than males? Why is it that girls will talk behind someone's back as a way of being aggressive? Why is it that girls will kind of get very cliquey and will socially kind of exclude certain people from joining their groups as a way of an aggression? And then physical aggression. Physical aggression is going to be more prevalent, more common amongst boys. Why is that? Why are boys more likely to be physical with their aggression than relational? And vice versa with girls. So more likely with males, minor violence, hitting, kicking, pushing, shoving, bumping someone in the hallway, swirlies in the toilets, locking someone in the locker, stuff like that, right? So adolescence, he considers this a time of storm and stress, learning, maturity, sex, anger, social groups, discovering your identity. As I was listening to some of this, I was thinking it'd be interesting to look at, especially at Riverton, where there's maybe some more behavior issues. But let's look at the typical reason that a girl is sent to the office versus a typical reason a boy is sent to the office. And does G. Stanley Hall have a point? Are the girls being sent to the office because they're physically violent? Or is that more the case with boys, right? And relational, is that more the case with boys or girls? And I think social media has definitely played maybe a little bit of a twist in this. All right, so family conflicts, okay? Family conflicts are good, necessary. This gives the parents a time to teach and instruct and discipline the children, and it allows the children, different situations to cope with conflict. Okay, so assimilation. You incorporate new information into existing knowledge. Okay, so assimilation. Incorporate new information into existing knowledge. So you have an existing schema, and that is used to deal with new objects, new stimuli. Accommodation. You adjust existing knowledge to incorporate new information. So existing knowledge that you have is not working, so you have to bring in new knowledge to make something work. Okay, so an example, a little kid is taught a furry animal with 4 legs is a dog, all right? Well, when he sees a cat, he points to the cat and says, dog. Well, no, that's not right. Okay, so he assimilated. He took here's this new cat I see, and he took existing knowledge of a dog and labeled it. Well, then it's not right. So now the kid has to accommodate, right? He's got to be taught that, this old knowledge he has isn't right, and so you have to apply it. Okay, so now cat has whiskers, right? Same thing for a horse and a zebra. Again, something like You know, a kid is taught how to ride a big wheel, right? And then a kid is taught how to ride a tricycle, right? And so he is assimilating these new concepts. But then he gets to a bicycle, and now the little kid has to adjust. He has his old information isn't going to work anymore because now there's only two wheels, right? So he has to new balance and steer and stuff like that, but he's got to adjust his old information for new. So the existing knowledge doesn't work for a bicycle, so he has to accommodate into new. Another example, a little kid, you know, sees clowns on TV, right? Clowns are bald, hair on the sides, and out in public, he sees a bald guy, you know, if you can imagine it, with hair on the side, and he points to the bald guy and says, clown. That's assimilation, right? He's taking all this existing knowledge and applying it to a new situation. The boy has to learn this is not a clown, that there are some people who are bald that are not clowns. So he has to accommodate for that new lesson. Okay, physical aspects of adolescence, not going to go into. You guys had health class, puberty, sexual interest, hair growing on armpits, you know, stuff like that, okay? Now, some of the social stuff, relationships, socializing, less dependent on the parents, more responsibility, a lot more temptation, bouncing around, different maybe social groups, different identity, maybe becoming an athlete, not becoming an athlete, losing interest in athletics, gaining interest elsewhere. Couple concepts, personal fable. Adolescents believe themselves to be unique, invincible. Maybe a lot of times they find themselves saying, hey, watch this. And then they end up in the hospital, or then they end up in the nurse's office, whatever it might be, right? So personal fable, kids just think, adolescents think they are special, they're unique. And that's probably because they have been getting rewards during adolescence, praise during adolescence, 8th grade graduations and stuff like that. So they think they are very special. Any problem they have in adolescence, it might not think any kid has ever experienced that before, right? Their parents are the worst. Nobody has ever had, stricter parents, stuff like that. Imaginary audience. This is this concept that adolescents tend to have, unconsciously, of course, that everybody is watching them, right? And probably last year in class, I used the example that, like when you have a pimple, right? You think it is this big deal. You might fret about it. You might think everybody's going to notice it. Everybody's going to judge me for it. No one really cares, right? I mean, the kind of clothes you wear, again, you think everybody's going to be looking at that. No one really cares. So common thought or belief that everyone is watching them or interested in them. It's center of the world, center of the room. This is this belief that when you walk into a room, everybody is looking at you, if you're wearing something different than maybe other people, you think they're judging you. It's called a spotlight effect. We're going to talk about the Heinz dilemma later. Last thing, moral competence, right? So are you morally competent? 3 things to know. First, impulse control. The ability to consciously restrain inappropriate urges of the unconscious mind. Okay, so impulse control. The ability to consciously restrain inappropriate urges of the unconscious mind. Delayed gratification. Not now. So when you want something pleasurable at an inappropriate time, you can resist that reward until later, right? So when you really want something, but now is not the right time, and we can look at examples later, you are able to resist that, right? And think about kids. Kids are not able to do that. Adolescents probably not able to do that. Such as maybe you really want to look at that notification you just got on your phone, but you're in the middle of class or you're in the middle of a business meeting or whatever it might be, being able to delay that, right? That you are morally competent. Theory of mind, awareness that others have thoughts, knowledge, and feelings that might be different than our own, but you can accept those. You can not lash out at them. You can not judge them, right? You have empathy. You can make emotional connections that even though somebody, has different plans than you do, if you go on vacation with them, for example, or being able to do things with a significant other that is interesting to them, but not interesting to you. When problems arise for a friend and they respond very poorly to it, you know, you wouldn't cry or you wouldn't be heartbroken, but they are being able to identify with that and being able to comfort them, right? All right, we actually are meeting in 11 minutes, so I got to log off. I'll get this posted, sent out ASAP.